Hello. Hello. Another day asking for a nerf to monks? I never ask for a nerf to monks. It's just, I'm just showcasing the gameplay. It's up to Tipsoft to do with that what they will. Hello, everyone. Hello. All right. So. Plan for today. Issavi surface. Asking for a buff to druids and sorcerers, please. Both of them deserve it. We're going to go with Issavi surface because we have two very relevant damage praise rolled for free here. We've got Feral Sphinx and Manticores. And those are actually the two dangerous creatures at Issavi surface. So it should be pretty easy with those applied. Let's reroll the middle one. We have Burster, Thanacersis, Midnight Sorrow. We might use the Thanacersis if we go to Summer Court, Winter Court. We'll see. Hello, Pi. Hello. All right. So, with regards to Issavi surface, we don't actually have any charms. As you can see, we have young Goannas and adult Goannas not unlocked. We don't have Manties or Ferals either. So we're going with no charms. It's a pretty hard spot. This is where I burnt my Gift of Life last time I hunted here. So I'm just a little bit like, we'll have to see. But I do have Earth Protection now in my armor. And I have, let me get a Fire Protection Trinket here. 5% Fire, I believe, is better than 2% Earth. Hello. What is coming for the next summer update? I don't really know what's coming up for the next update. My hope / maybe guess is there's going to be some sort of expansion to the task system, like Grizzly Adams type tasks, and a secondary use for the hunting task points from the prey system, this stuff here. That would be like my guess, maybe. It's not really based on much, just the fact that Tipsoft tried to shove the hunting task points as a way to refresh or reset charms in the previous update, which makes me think that they are maybe thinking about some extra uses for the hunting task points. And if indeed they want to do it, then something like a refresh or an update of the Grizzly Adams task system for 2025 seems like a good place to do it. So maybe something like this. Do you play with anti-aliasing on? I don't know. Apparently I do, yes. In Ixupan Occupied Sanctuary, do you need to kill the Mitma boss for the hunt to be possible? Strictly no, but yes. Strictly you can hunt there without it, but it's going to be inefficient. You do need to kill the boss to be able to use the teleporter properly to make a proper loop, yes. Nerfs tomorrow? I don't think so. I think they're going to wait until next Tuesday. I'm anticipating nerfs next Tuesday. I have another more question about rotation. If we have full harmony and can use gracefully or blows, what to do? Is very often possible and either kick. Honestly, just use your full harmony. Always use your full harmony as soon as you have full stacks. If you're using spells when you have full harmony, they don't grant you any extra leech or healing. Just super, super bad. And Greater Flurry of Blows is not all that powerful that you should be skipping your takedown for it or whatever for another turn, in my opinion. Yeah, I was just, Laylo, I was just reading your comment on YouTube, actually. I see you've come to Twitch to ask it. I think it's a skill issue. I mean, if you're doing 2.7 at Grims, then that's clearly a skill issue. Clearly too slow with the way you hunt. Because you can do like 20-30% more than that. I mean, the 83 Fist is not great, but it's not sufficient of a detriment to really to make you lose that much experience. You just must be going slow. I don't know how or why. I don't know what you're doing wrong, but even with 83 Fist, you should still be capable or able to get like 3-1, 3-2 raw. The previous two nerfs have not been that big of a deal. Like they both nerfed like 2-3%, but not enough to really yeah, there you go, see? Yeah. Thank you. O-string. Question, how much magic level fist fighting? I think fist fighting. Magic level for paladins makes sense because their spells, Mass San and Grenade, scale with magic level as well, but monk spells do not scale with magic level. So it's only for healing, but you have loads of healing anyway. So yeah, all right. We are going to be trying to find some efficient laps. There are a couple of pulls that I've seen that are good here when I was playing here before. Kind of hard. So we're going to see. I'm going to see how it goes. I do have bestiary to do here, which is why I kind of want to hunt. And I also did roll those 2 damage praise. And the 2 hard monsters in this respawn are the Feral Sphinxes and the Manticores. The Goannas are very easy. If it was just a spawn with just Goannas, it would be super, super easy. But it's actually the Sphinxes and stuff that are the problem here. I think around 5.5 raw is achievable here. Around that sort of level. With charms and a bit more experience, of course, it's going to be even better than that. But I'm expecting to be able to achieve maybe 5.5 today. Board of Ormond West. Any other non-boring hunt spots? Grim Reapers. I don't know, dude. Honestly, just check my suggestions on Tibia Pal. I don't remember everything. There's a few places, but it's actually until 200. Like this level range to 130 up until like 200 is literally just like Grim Reapers and yeah, maybe like Sunken Quarter, Ormond West and stuff. But ideally, you just want to stay in Grim Reapers. It's just so much better than everything else. At level 200, you get your Destruction Weapon, which opens up quite a few spots. But even so, Grim Reapers are very good for a long time. Banuta, yeah, Banuta -6 is good. Banuta -8 is still kind of hard at that level, but doable. So yeah, that is something to consider. Oh. Nope. I just did a full sweeping takedown into the wall again, reminiscing of that time I died in a Asura Mirror. Very similar situation. Well, thankfully, I noticed it this time instead of continuing like that for the next 5 spells. Yes, I really, really hate that wall in particular. No, no, no. Okay, we're not going down this 1 SQM corridor again. What do you think is pre-op getting equipment after 3 to 400? Well, Solkamas is your biggest priority. I mean, that weapon is just incredible. But 300 to 400 is very, very wide range. Like, you could ask this question separately for level 300 and for level 400. Well, both 300 and 400 items is a lot to sort of consider in such a question. How many weapons do you want to burn this weekend? I'm expecting 2 a day. I mean, I'll be training all the time I'm not hunting, so the question is how much I can play. I mean, on the weekends, I don't play that much because my kid's at home. But I do have the Friday off work. So assuming my kids aren't sick, I should play a fair bit on the Friday. And other than that, we'll see. I'd like to, yeah, at least 2 weapons a day. So at least 6 total. But maybe a bit more if I can't play enough. Do you not use mana potions? Not often anymore. And definitely not in what I consider pretty hard spots, which this is. Oh, here we go, first level today. For 400, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good items for 400, to be honest. Like, I could just say that one item that's not worth, in my opinion, is the boots. unless you're a team hunter who knows very specifically you're going to be hunting a lot of ice library, I would not bother getting the boots at the moment. They're overpriced for what they offer, in my opinion. So I would skip those. Everything else is very good. I strongly recommend you do get it. I mean, Soul Kamas is great. Soul Garb is great. The ring is great. The helmet is great. So, yeah. I don't know if I can really prioritize them. I guess the weapon is the best. Like, you really do on the Soul Kamas. Yeah, the boots are crazy expensive for what they offer. I really think the boots are really not very valuable. Like 400 KK for the weapon is crazy as well, but it's actually an amazing weapon, you know? The boots are like, I'm perfectly happy not having them. I don't miss them at all, so I'm just going to wait until they're like 100 KK because that is how much they're going to be eventually, because they're not that good. Is it worth training till 100? Yeah, or is it better to buy level 250? Okay, so, that's a hard question. I mean, both the level 250 weapons are amazing and they really open up a lot of spawns. But having 100 fist over 84 is also very good. I'd probably buy the weapon, to be honest. Equipment over training, generally speaking. Maybe get to like 90 fist at least if you can. Like, that should still be very cheap, no? Are you still using the Corsair Scimitar mouse? Yes, I am. Alright, we're not going down south into this one SQM corridor again. We're not making that mistake again. Hey, Sheriff. How is Nevia looking Dominando-wise? It's pretty good, all things considered. I don't have any issues with them. It's all the spawns are open for everybody. No one's gonna kick you out from anywhere. No payments, nothing like that. It's just light preferential treatment for certain respawns due to facilitating everything else on the server. I think it's fine. I don't notice the Dominando, basically. As far as I know, it's probably the softest Dominando in the game, if you can even call it that. At least that's my experience as a solo mid-game level player. I'm quite focused hunting here because, like I say, I've been here a few times recently, and I've used 2 cupcakes and triggered Gift of Life. So it may seem pretty easy, but it's because I'm playing it very very safe. I'll think, oh, we had just looked over and we're looking at like 5-7 raw or something. Okay, not bad. That is not bad. I don't have any Animus or Praise here. I do obviously have those 2 charms now on... sorry, I have no Animus and no charms, but I do have the 2 Praise on Ferals and Manticores. It's probably helping quite a bit. Although they do only make up 2 creatures on this spawn. Uh-huh. Had to pop energy ring there for a second. Like I say, this is it feels easy until it doesn't. Like if you have to be very careful not to make too big pulls, because then it gets very very sus very quickly. But we did hit like 5.8, 5.9 raw though, which is nice. Isn't it better to kite instead of boxing? Yeah, but it's not always possible. And also, if you kite for too long and too far, then they start disappearing, unfortunately. The pull range is not that huge. I have had quite a few of them puff on me when I was testing. So now I'm a little bit more conservative with how far I kite with them. Easy until it isn't. Yeah, basically. Yeah, you have loads of damage, you smash everything until you like overlure and then you're like dead. Yep. Technically, it's better to kite. Of course, I try to kite as much as possible until I can't kite anymore, or until it doesn't make sense because like too many monsters and it's too chaotic. Because you know those monsters are very fast as well. So if you're kiting 20 monsters, which are very fast, you know, I may be a pretty good player, but I can still overdo it and get myself boxed and by 8, right? And if I get myself boxed by 8, I'm in big trouble here. So better sometimes to just take the war box and make sure you're not trapped by 8, but instead you're trapped by 5, which is way more manageable. Are you planning to make a video about this one for Monk? Yes, eventually. But I think I'm going to make it as a 500 plus recommendation. Maybe 450 plus. I'm going to, once I complete like charms here, Bestiary, and I come here with charms, I'll evaluate how difficult this place actually is. Because when I came here like 400, I felt like it was a little bit too hard. Like I say, I had to pop a couple of cupcakes. I had to pop... I popped my Gift of Life here, so... Yeah, that's a little bit too close for comfort, I think, for me. You'll be recommending this place around like 400. Even now, I'm like, you know, I'm like really on the verge here. Yeah, I think with charms, maybe it's 450. Without charms, maybe 500. That kind of recommendation. But you know, it's a lot of charms here to be had, a lot of bestiary to be done. So, and the experience is obviously pretty good as well. I think with charms, definitely 6 KK raw. Which, you know, is kind of like my benchmark of something that's, you know, pretty good at this level. But yeah, when it's time, I'm obviously planning to make a little video for this place now. I spent quite a bit of time trying to optimize where to take the pulls and stuff, but it's very because it's very quite a chaotic place, so you can't really have like a super static lap. You know, it's not like summer court or something where you just do the exact same pulls in the exact same place every lap kind of thing, right? It's a little bit too dynamic for this kind of pathing. But you can still have a general idea, right, of where to go. Like I'm always doing this pull, for example, right by the wall, like somewhere south here. Doesn't matter if it's this SQM or is the SQM like a little bit further down, right? It doesn't really matter. Kind of that's enough to give you an idea of where you should be stopping. Do you think 450 RP can hunt here like this? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think it would be too hard. D2 Drachiku at level 500. Oh boy. That is a beautiful weapon. Almost as strong as Solkamas. Are you playing on Zuna or something? Is there no items at all? You should transfer them. Transfer them from other servers, man. I think a paladin to hunt here like this, you probably need, I don't know, 600-ish level. Even then, I don't know. Sounds pretty hard. Ugh. Also, you need to do a lot of manual targeting here of the monsters, which is also kind of tricky because of how fast everything is and how much there is on the screen. This is not an easy spot. Like, difficulty and mechanically speaking, it's quite difficult as well. Yeah, you kind of really need to know what you're doing if you're going to hunt here around this kind of level. Yeah, and yes, this yeah, the reason the monk can hunt here is because of his like insane let's kill off this stupid goanna. I wish they didn't run either. Kind of really awkward mechanic. And they don't heal either, so even if they run, they're not going to come back to you. You just have to chase them down. But yes, the monk is obviously very strong. I'm gonna hunt these places a lot sooner than other vocations. Also, this is, you know, this is a pretty good spot for the monk to showcase its strength. Like the kiting style, energy is good here when it, you know, the monk's most powerful level 400 weapon is energy. Kusnier, not the monk. Sure, let's go with that. If that lets us avoid the nerfs, then yeah, I'm all for that. Just blame it on me. Need to drink a lot of water. Yeah, I need to drink a lot of water because I have this persistent cough that's not letting go for like a month now. I'm going to a doctor tomorrow to ask about it. It's odd. Well, yeah, I need to drink a lot of water because I keep coughing. I try to mute myself when I cough, but I'm not always able to do it if I'm in the middle of a box. You have a 600 RP, and yes, this would be very hard. Yeah, I think so as well. I don't know what level paladins can really hunt here. I don't even really think this spawn is really all that good ever for a paladin. I think it's a bit better for sorcerers. Nope. Whoa. No. Six KK raw. There we go. Cracked 6 KK raw. Yeah, I think if you're really powerful and you really blow up this respawn, then yeah, that's when it makes sense to come. But yeah, I think a 600 paladin would probably do like 5 KK raw here with like really struggling. So well, it's kind of no point really. It's just not quite powerful yet at that level. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. See, this is yeah, it's not an easy respawn. Oh shit. Oh, do we survive or do we die? We run. Why do I still have the fucking energy ring on? This happens a lot. Like I'll pop the energy ring on and then I change the hotkey to prismatic ring or ethereal ring, but it doesn't register. Like why does the hotkey to change the ring not register? What's blocking it? If I'm spamming potions, can I not change rings? Like this happens a lot to me and I don't understand why. I don't understand what blocks taking off switching the energy ring to something else, because this happens to me way too often, and it's not a skill issue because I'm pressing the hotkeys for sure. Yeah, well, never mind. We didn't actually burn much there, to be honest. Pop the energy ring on. Blew through the mana, but we survived. They didn't even use Focus Serenity, so we chilling. But I really don't like that the energy ring does not go off. Like, I can't look at my equipment every time to just figure out if it's gone or not, right? I'm focusing on my character health, and I don't notice that the energy ring is not gone, and then I'm like, oh, I have 0 mana. Clearly the energy ring has not been taken off. Not sure. I really don't know why that happens. Skill issue. I guess, but I don't know. It's odd. It's odd. Which tier category would you say that suits monks the best? What do you mean forge? What forge bonuses are the best for monk? Is that the question? I'm not sure I definitely understand the question. Thank God you hunt on ultimate spirit potions only. But yeah, that's kind of why, right? Especially in a place like this. Smart mode and energy is this high risk. I do have smart mode. Yeah. Why is that? Is that risky? Why would that be more risky? Like, if I'm, my hotkey is to put the ring on. And then when I don't want the ring on, it's not like I press the same hotkey. I press the hotkey for the other ring, like my ethereal ring or prismatic ring, depending on which one, which one I click, which one I need. So it wouldn't really matter if it's smart mode or not smart mode on the energy ring, should it? Tiering of which equipment piece is most beneficial. I don't think it's really particularly different for the monk. Momentum is more complicated due to the way the spenders and builders work, but it does potentially have also huge upside on a high level. I don't think its tiering is any different than on any other vocation. So obviously legs and weapon, very good. Problem of the weapon is kind of similar to the problem on the EK, in that you have a few weapons. So it's like, well, I guess the physical weapon can be kind of ignored, right? So you have 2 weapons, I suppose. You have your energy and earth weapon. And realistically, you're probably using the energy weapon more. So maybe just tier the energy weapon. You can double click by mistake. That's not what's happening though. No, that doesn't happen to me. I don't double click it by mistake. I always just press F once and it does equip it. I always equip the energy ring with no problem. The problem is taking the energy ring off when I no longer need it by replacing it with a different ring, and it sometimes just doesn't seem to want to register, and then I'm stuck with the energy ring on even though I don't need it. That really annoys me. That's really dangerous because obviously you have no mana. Do you use control to turn? Yes. I don't use the auto aim option, if that's the question. Yes, I use control to turn my character to direct where my waves are gonna go. Yes, the auto aim is a nice chill thing if you're not hunting anything serious and you don't care all that much about missing a few waves here and there. But for ultimate control, yeah, you definitely want to be using manual turning and casting. Good morning. I'm using Justice at the moment. I think this is potentially one of like the spawns where maybe Harmony would still be okay, just because the density here is so crazy, and having access to those powerful spenders more often and to the big groups of monsters maybe would be better. I haven't tested it properly yet though. But overall, I'm still using Justice. Let's wait what happens the nerf wave. Any website to buy monk equipment when no one dropped it yet in my server? I guess tibiatrade.gg is probably your best bet. Otherwise, you've got the trading discords as well. A lot of discords dedicated to Tibia trading that you'd probably want to join. That's about the only two ways I can think of to get a little bit more information out there and trying to purchase on other worlds. And what about spiritual outburst, harmony, virtue here? Yeah, that's what I was saying basically, that it's, I mean, if I was to go virtue of harmony, I would be going spiritual outburst wheel, and that's what I mean. Like it only really makes sense to even consider that in like really dense respawns where you're going to get a lot of value from those massive spenders, right? And this is one of those respawns where I think it could feasibly be better. But I haven't hunted here enough, and I'm not comfortable enough with this respawn. And also the problem is this respawn's not very stable. You know, if you're going to be doing testing, like virtue testing, comparison, wheel testing and comparison, you kind of want like a more static respawn where there's not much variance between one lap and another. And here it's total chaos, right? I do one lap and then the next lap can look totally different. But this also in effect means that one 30-minute can be very, very different from the other 30 minutes. So if you're doing a test, it's hard to be confident that whatever differences you may spot in your results are actually from the change in, say, the wheel or the virtue, right? It could just as well be a different lap layout that happened in this particular hunt. So if I'm doing testing, I prefer to do tests in places which, like I say, are much more static. So for example, places like Drake and Walls, super good for like pure damage and sort of healing and test and charm testing, stuff like that. Just because those laps are exactly the same every single time, right? There's no variance in the lap. Here it's just too fucking chaotic. You can't really test here very well. If you wanted to do tests here, you would have to do many hours of testing. You know, like if I go Drake and Walls, I do 30 minutes with one setup, 30 minutes with another setup. I can be confident that my results are, you know, pretty reliable and applicable, and they would hold for multiple hours. If I do a 30-minute test here with Virtue of Harmony, and I do a 30-minute test with a Virtue of Justice, I have zero confidence that that would translate to the same result after 10 hours of using both. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, this is just because this respawn is so chaotic, and so there's so much variance between one hunt and the next. Unsphere with the Prime sub. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Harmony and Team Hunt solo Injustice? Yeah, perfectly reasonable. Perfectly reasonable. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the reason I don't love Harmony for solo hunting is because Spiritual Outburst is really hit and miss when solo hunting, because you cannot guarantee those like very big static boxes that you can in a team hunt, and doing Spiritual Outburst and it hitting like 2 or 3 monsters feels terrible, feels really bad. So I don't really like using it when solo hunting, but even so, it may well still be best for some places that are really dense, maybe like this. When you say nerf in zone, what do you mean? Like in that range level, you're feeling the previous nerfs? No, I'm just making a joke that this is the stream where we're gonna get the monk nerfed. That's kind of what I mean when I talk about the nerf in zone. It's not funny if I have to explain it. All right. God. Anyway, I'm still not expecting any nerfs for another 8 days. Justice Virtue is D. Doing more damage. Yeah, I believe so. It's also very simple, which cannot be understated. People love to think that they play optimally at all times. And, you know, Virtue of Harmony, maybe played super optimally, has a slightly higher damage ceiling. But the reality is, myself included, that we make mistakes and play optimally all the time. And having a simple wheel with a simple Virtue actually is oftentimes results in better results overall, better experience.
Ja dobrze, a ty chuju dobrze. Kurwa, bober.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The justice wheel scales very. This is the thing. I only switched Gosnex. I only switched to the justice wheel, justice virtue, when I started using the chain penance wheel, because indeed, like with the justice, you get to use the chain penance 3 times. So you get like an extra 50% benefit from that wheel perk, right? Instead of only 2 spells, gain +1 chain, you've got 3 spells in your rotation. 3 chain penances, which get that plus extra target. So yeah, it's a combination of the Virtue of Justice and the +1 chain penance perk. And it's very nice. I honestly don't notice any difference when I play. I often have Harmony on by accident and it's the same thing. There's the one thing that you should definitely notice, and you will only notice this if you're hunting fairly difficult respawn, is that with Virtue of Justice, your melee attacks deal more damage, and they leech a lot. Obviously, your melee damage is a big part of your leech. So you should notice more leech per hour. You know, obviously not from second to second, you won't notice it. But across the hour, you should notice that you have to use fewer supplies. And in general, it should mean that it's easier for you to maintain your health and mana in the Virtue of Justice, because your basic attacks are stronger in Virtue of Justice compared to Virtue of Harmony. That's one big difference. And damage-wise, they are very, very close. Like, it's not a big difference. But I will say that it's just a simpler rotation, simpler playstyle without having to use like Focus Harmony and Focus Serenity. Maybe you're just a god at the game, and so you play the Virtue of Harmony Spiritual Outburst wheel perfectly. Possible. And so there's no need for you to use Virtue of Justice. But generally speaking, Virtue of Justice does seem to be performing a little bit better for majority of people and majority of spawns. It does also depend on what you're hunting, obviously. If you're hunting Cathedral, then Virtue of Harmony is obviously better. Those soul weapons look so good. Agreed. Really, really nice. And it plays even better than it looks. How are we doing with profit here? 450k in 44 minutes. So, okay. Even like 600k per hour while doing a pretty reasonable experience as well. And I really don't think those praise are doing a whole lot of work here, by the way. Like, they're useful, but I don't know that it really contributed all that much. I was able to get like 5.5 raw here off stream solo anyway, without charms. So I really don't think they are that important. I think you can try hunt on library. No, not yet. I tried a library hunt on the 800 level on the test server, and that was possible, but already not not that good. It was fine. Maybe I wasn't that good at the character yet. Maybe in real Tibia, level 800 would have a good time hunting library with a bit of experience. But on the test server, it wasn't like that amazing. Any tip for aiming chained penance? Sometimes it just goes into a random direction. Well, you have to understand first of all, you have to understand the mechanics, right? How it works. It goes to the within 2 squares. It goes to the enemy with the highest health all the time. And if you can judge which enemy has the highest health, and which enemy will be the second one to have the highest health, and the fourth one, and the fifth one after the previous 2 or 3 are hit, then you can you have a pretty good idea of where it's going to go and which target you have to select for your chain penance not to whiff into the air. But it is not an easy skill, right? You have to have a very quick way of analyzing all the monsters' health and predicting where it's going to go. Certainly not easy, but it is possible. Of course, there is a random element to it. If you're targeting a full HP box of 8 monsters, then it will be basically random. But that's, in my case, that's not often the case. Rarely the case, even. Can you try to hunt on library? No. I'm not going to go and suicide myself. Maybe on the test server we can try on this character. Definitely not in real Tibia. But actually that means I should do library access, because I don't actually have library access yet. In fact, I'm pretty far off it. I don't know if I've done like anything. No, I haven't done even like a single mission. I've got like Deathlings access, but I haven't killed Brocco. I've done Falcons, I guess. I've killed Oberon, so I have that part. That's it. No, in the wall again. This stupid wall. Why? Good morning. All good. Level 300 monk. What side of the wheel should I go for? At level 300, you probably just want to get +1 chain. Likely in the Gift of Life quadrant, because that has more HP. Lesser nodes overall, I believe. That should be like the only thing you really care about. Have you tested Naga's solo yet? Yeah, I have. I've spent quite a bit of time there. With the Soul Kamas from at level 400, we can do up to like 7 KK raw with charms only. And we can do 0 supplies there even. I don't know if well, you clearly haven't seen that video, otherwise you would know. But yeah, we can hunt Nagas with no supplies. Although the experience does drop a little bit then, because we do have to play a bit safer. But yes, Naga is obviously very good. It's actually the best respawn in the game still, even at this level. There's a couple of respawns where I can, maybe match that or close to it, like Cobras. Cobras are pretty close, like around 7 KK raw as well. But overall, I would say Nagas are like the sort of easiest, simplest way to get that much experience at this level. Can I hunt like this in this spawn on a 400 paladin? God, no. But if you do, make sure to stream it so that you land on Ferumbrino. I think this place for it to be viable is like 600-700 paladin, really. Seems like an insane spot for the monk. Then yeah, I mean Nagas is like almost a perfect respawn for the monk. Like they're weak to energy and earth, which are the monk's 2 best elements. And they have this sort of typical sort of wall, a lot of walls, and like relatively low density but high damage and high experience monsters. That's what's like perfect for the monk, like because the monk can heal a lot and mitigate a lot of the damage by like running, so they don't actually take all this damage, and then they can always just finish in a wall box if they want to. So yeah, it's kind of like Cobra Basement. Cobra Basement is another very similar looking respawn, and it's also very, very good for the monk, because it's kind of like, you've got your walls for your wall boxing, you've got the sort of low-ish density respawn with high damage monsters that you can mitigate in a lot of ways by just running around. And that's basically the perfect respawn for the monk, right? So any other respawns like that, Grim Reapers, for example, again, right? It's good for a reason, right? You can, not that much density, but high hitting monsters, weak to energy, and that you can like kind of in a wall box in a way. I mean, you don't really wall box them all that much because they don't have that much health, so they just kind of die. But yeah, that's kind of how you know that a respawn's going to be good for the monk. Relatively low density compared to stuff like Issavi, obviously. Relatively powerful monsters that deal a lot of damage but have high experience rates. Yeah, weak to energy, weak to earth. Deathlings, another respawn that's pretty good as well. I was able to crack 6 KK raw at Deathlings this morning, so that one is scaling better and better for me as well. And I don't even have the charm on the spell singer yet. I only have the charm on the scout for now. But that's kind of similar sort of respawn, so relatively low density respawn with like a lot of walls to do wall boxing, weak to my elements. I don't know if I should be standing here. This may be too much, but let's try. I think we're okay. About Draken Walls, is a better pair? Oh, you mean the Nunchaku of Destruction, or oh no, Pair of Iron Fist or Drachaku. Between Pair of Iron Fist and Drachaku, you want Drachaku. But between the Nunchaku of Destruction at level 200, you level 450. That went faster than I expected. But between the Destruction Weapon and Drachaku, I went for the Destruction Weapon. Having that extra little bit of imbuement to me was worth it. It's like technically the damage is very close, but having that extra imbuement made it a lot easier at level 200. But yes, if it's Drachaku versus Pair of Iron Fist, then Drachaku, because the energy element is better, but the third imbue slot from the Destruction Weapon is worth more than the element. But if you're not benefiting from that because you're looking at a Pair of Iron Fists, then yeah, then Drachaku is better. Why you don't use Focus Serenity? Because yes, optimal EXP play would include you using Focus Serenity once every 10 minutes. However, using something 6 times an hour is marginal experience gain, so I prefer to save it if I ever need it for like if I'm trapped. If I ever get trapped here, which does happen, like less and less now that I'm getting more and more comfortable with this spot, but it did happen a couple of times. I got trapped here and I had Focus Serenity and it let me get out of the box. So yeah, it's technically not optimal for experience. But you know, if it saves me from death once every few hours when hunting in a place like this, then that more than makes up for you know, using it 6 times an hour, you know. But if I'm hunting something where I am able to get out of a potential trap / box without Focus Serenity, then I will be using Focus Serenity off cooldown in a place like that. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, it's basically my Focus Serenity for me is like a get out of jail free card in case I ever get trapped. So I'd rather always have it available. Are you now using directional spells or not? Well, I think your question is weirdly phrased. I think your question is, do you use auto aim setting? And the answer to that question is no, I do not. I use it directionally, like wherever I'm looking. So I move myself with the control. But obviously all spells of the monk are directional other than the chain. So yes, obviously we are using directional spells, but we are not using the extra setting that is supposed to help with it, because it doesn't really help unless you don't really care about missing a few spells here and there. If a creature is 110% for energy and 100% to physical, I should use Drachaku over Destruction. Well, that depends on the... Hang on a minute. Drachaku over Destruction. Yeah, for damage, yeah, Drachaku is better. Also, something to keep in mind is that the way the armor works versus elemental resistances, in general, even considering equal resistances, so even if something's 100 to physical and 100 to energy, it's generally better to use energy, assuming a similar power level of the weapon. The reason you'd use Drachaku over the reason you'd use Destruction Weapon over Drachaku generally for some of the spawns is if you need the third imbuement slot. And when I was testing Draken Walls on level 200, I felt I really benefited from having that third imbuement slot, because at level 200 it wasn't very easy. So having that extra vampirism was worth it for me, even if technically Drachaku you know, did a little bit more damage because the energy element is a bit better. Generally speaking, there aren't very many places where physical is better than energy. Like, it's like the only places that I use physical now at this level would be Rashomon West, Shockheads, Rashomon West, Rashomon Bones, and Shockheads, and you can really feel that it's not that great. Generally speaking, avoid physical based spots if you can. But, you know, in the level 200 to 300, there is a couple which are good ones. Like I hunted with hyenas a fair bit, which is good. Yeah, Drake and Walls also good until you unlock like a Moonspade or something. But overall, not great to use physical. I found it to be very underwhelming. And if I'm going to use a physical weapon, it's going to have to be like really broken. And currently, they're not broken. Like the Falcon Sai is a pretty nice weapon. Again, I don't really use it. I've got nowhere really to use it. Maybe because there's no like actually good physical respawn. You know, maybe if there was like a Naga's respawn, which was strong to earth and strong to energy, but weak to physical for some reason, then, you know, maybe. But at the moment, the only respawns which are like really, you know, where you really use physical that are like known to be good respawns are like Rashomon West. But the Monk, with the way its kit works, is not actually even all that good for Rashomon West because it's too dense, and you don't damage enough creatures per turn there. Four-star Goanna, have to be careful. Hello, Luquinho. I'm just playing. It's not even like that crazy, I think. I mean, I don't know if any of vocations can realistically do anything like this here at this level. Probably not. Although, you know what, I could foreseeably, possibly the level 400 EK hunting here with some success. Like even any EK hunting here, like both ice and energy, I think are pretty good here. Like I could conceivably see EK's hunting here. I just don't think it's very commonly thought of, so they don't really try. I think it could be done with some reasonable success. They are missing the chain, obviously, which would be a shame because the chain here is very, very good. But still, I think an EK could probably hunt here. About like insane difficulty around level 400-ish. Obviously, it would have to be kiting style though, not like boxing style. They couldn't out heal the damage here. Can you go Nagas with Lion Claws at level 300? Yeah, I think so. I'd go to level 300 with Lion Claws. I think that's fine. Obviously going to do a little bit less experience than if you had some more offensive weapons. But yeah, Lion Claw is going to be fine. Hello to Canazord. This hit and run mechanic just makes everything easier. However, there's almost no margin for error. Yep, exactly. High risk, high reward. Barely take any damage, but you get yourself trapped, and it's GG. EK kiting style means 2kk raw max? I don't think so. I think, look, I played a lot of EK, obviously. And I played a fair amount of kiting style, like in a lot of respawns. Of course, with the EK, you do end up standing still more. But like, you still do a lot of kiting from pull to pull, and doing a lot of damage to the monsters as you're kiting towards the next box, or at least you should be if you're playing the EK optimally. In majority of the respawns, you should be reaching the next pull with majority of the monsters being like yellow health already. And that's basically kiting style, right? Except, you know, if you hunted here as an EK, you just wouldn't stop. You just keep going over and over round until everyone was dead. So I think it's possible. I don't think it would be 2kk raw. I think a 400 EK could do 4kk raw here, which obviously is a lot worse than what I'm doing now. But I do think it would be possible. But they don't have the chain, so they wouldn't be able to kite as effectively. Is Monk reliable at boss soloing? Is a single target damage enough to have no problem doing Tamira at this level, for example? Yeah, I believe so. In fact, I have on my list to try some bossing just to showcase it. But yeah, I think at this level, before Paladin has the upgraded Grand Con, I think the Monk is probably the strongest single target vocation. It's only once the Paladin unlocks the second tier of Grand Con, I guess at level, what level is it? 500 or so? That's when Paladin overtakes the Monk in the single target DPS. But yes, even after that, I think even after the Paladin unlocks Grand Con, Monk is very, very fine for single damage. It's probably the strongest, the second strongest vocation for sort of soloing bosses. And he has a still pretty high health ball, so it's not like he's going to get blown up by stuff like, you know, Mitmar and stuff at a higher level. Yeah, I do think the Monk is pretty good at boss soloing. Obviously, he has to stay a little bit closer to the boss than the Paladin, right? The Paladin has like an easy time soloing Oberon, as I don't think the Monk will have such an easy time because he does have to get in range of those Falcons and Oberon himself. It's still doable though. Still perfectly doable. I don't see a lot of people playing Monk as you. In this sense, compared to EK, do you think that Monks demand more action than EKs? I mean, is it easier? I think mana management is infinitely easier on the Monk than on the EK. You barely have to be using potions compared to the EKs, at least with the current sustain levels. But I do think mechanically the Monk is probably the hardest vocation at the moment, if played, you know, optimally. And it depends on the respawn, right? There are respawns where the optimal playstyle is to just go hug a wall, and that's not very mechanically difficult, right? You just go from a wall hug to wall hug, and that's fine. That's not very difficult. But overall, if you're going to play the Monk effectively, I do think it is definitely mechanically challenging. Just with the skill level that you need to have as a player to make the most of it, I think. I think the gap between like the top 1% of Monks versus the top 50% of Monks is going to be huge, even bigger than compared to other vocations. Obviously, the gap exists there for other vocations as well, but I think for Monks is going to be the most like defined and noticeable. We need to refill our mouth potions. I would love to kite my pull on in goal, but my mana suffers. Which is the rotation for boss? I'm not gonna type it out for you now. If you ask me Camus Digo, if you ask me on Discord, I'll type it out later. Message me on Discord, either in my Discord server or just send me a private message. I'll share what my boss rotation is. What are the nerfs you think they will do to Monk after Rapid or during the update? Do you think it will make a big difference? I think if I was to... all right, that's it's a tricky question. I don't want to give him too many ideas. So one straight away thing that I think they're going to do, and I can't even fault them too much, is they're going to lower further the base damage of Chained Penance. It still hits so hard and it's so powerful, and a lot of the power comes from the fact that we use Chained Penance 3 times per rotation. It's just a really powerful spell, so that is a no-brainer really to lower the damage of that. Second of all, the bigger that may be enough to lower the experience and the power level of the Monk, generally speaking, and that may be enough. That may be the only sort of damage nerf, but I do think they don't like what they're seeing on my stream and in my videos of those zero supply hunts. I think it's just insane that the Monk can do that, and I think Tipsoft is likely not liking it very much either, so they're going to want to hit that in some way. And there's a few ways in which they can do it. We're going to see what they go for, but like a couple of obvious ones would be, first of all, removing the healing from the passive healing from the virtues that you get every time you do like a Monk spell. So that, I think that might be gone or just moved to the virtue of sustain only. They could also increase the mana costs of some of the abilities. They could somehow artificially reduce the leech the Monk gets from imbuement. Somehow they could change the potions. Maybe you can't use ultimate spirit potions anymore, but use something else. Although the potion change is not really going to change you being able to do a zero supply hunt, right? If you're doing a zero supply hunt, it doesn't matter what your potions are if you're not using any anyway, right? But I don't know. There's definitely something that I think they're going to change around that. So I think if I had to guess, I would guess a Chained Penance damage nerf plus some subsequent changes to remove or lower the ability of the Monk to hunt without using supplies or using extremely low supplies. Can you explain the tier or ranking system you use for your YouTube hunting videos? When you say a respawn is A or S or whatever, oh, it's just feels and vibes, bro. You're gonna be disappointed, but I don't have some sort of massive Excel spreadsheet with like, you know, values that I rate each respawn at. It's like, is this respawn great? S tier. Is this respawn a little bit worse? A tier. Is this respawn garbage? C tier. You know, it's not very analytical, not very, you know, not very structured, I'm afraid. It's a bit of a vibe kind of thing. If I just died at a respawn the day before, it gets a C tier, you know? It's not super reliable. I wouldn't base my plans on how I rate the respawns, to be honest. It's not the most scientific way of doing it. Taking into consideration that Monk can do a lot of stuff way earlier than other vocations, is there any spot at the moment that you consider absurd for Monk to be able to do that early? Oh, a lot of them. I would have to pull out Tibia Pal right now, but I don't know. Azalon at 400 is probably pretty absurd. I can do crazy stuff there. Nagas at 250, you know, people do it, just also insane. Summer Court, Winter Court, I can do at 250. Oscar at Were Tigers at 250 is also insane. Like, I was struggling at that spot on a level 500 EK, and I'm like chilling there on a 250 Monk. I don't have like a super straight answer for you, but there's a bunch of places. I meant the order. So S. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. That is how the order works. Yeah, obviously S tier is best, then A, B, C, D, etc. Yeah, of course. I mean that's just standard order, right? What does S stand for? I don't know what S stands for. Is that super? I don't really know where that came from, to be honest. No idea. Are your frame rate drops on stream? The stream keeps loading back. Not that I'm aware of. Not getting any notifications or anything. My stream seems okay on my end. I think. Yes, you do. Do I? Okay, so I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with Twitch. I don't know. All right, thanks, guys. Yes, no, it seems it's okay for majority of people. So, all right. Japan wanted ranks to be extra cool, so they added S. Really? Wow. Okay. A skill issue for the view. Yeah, get a better internet. All right. Sold my 500 EK to start over with Monk, but seeing 300s Monks doing what I've been doing makes me think it's gonna get nerfed pretty badly. Yep. I don't think pretty badly is a bit of an exaggeration. It will get nerfed. I think the Monk will end up 10% ish weaker than where it is now. It's not going to be like 30% weaker, I think. I think the Monk will be a very, very solid early and mid-game vocation for a long time. I don't think they're going to kill that part of it to the ground. So I think, considering that your EK was level 500, it sounds like you're not, you know, like a super, super high-level end-game kind of player. And if that's the case, then I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think this level range, the Monk will always be stronger. It will be weaker than it is now, I would say. But I still think it's going to be good. Very good, even. I mean, literally, they could take away like 10-15% of the numbers that we're making at this level. And it probably still is the best vocation in the sort of like mid-level range. Especially with like the profits that we're able to make and such. So yeah, it is going to get nerfed. But, you know, don't get too emotionally attached to the power level it has now in that case, right? Just enjoy the vocation for what it is and be aware that it's likely that there's going to be some nerfs. And when the nerfs hit, just get used to the new power level, you know? It's not a personal insult to you from the company or anything like that, so don't get too emotionally involved in it. Just keep that in mind, yeah? And it's not a big deal, right? It's after a week, it's going to feel normal. Same. Right, we've been nerfed twice already. The world hasn't ended. We're still strong. We're still having fun. And you know, people were like crying like crazy after the first two nerfs. You know, feel like that's it. It's garbage now. You know, and here we are. You know, a month later, still super good. So yeah, just don't freak about it. People get very, very emotional about nerfs to the vocations, but it's fine. It's part of the game. Which part of the Monk's kit is the most mechanically makes it the most demanding vocation? I think just the kiting around. Like, I don't think any... And so it's got a combination of like the paladin kiting around in difficult spots, but less damage mitigation and a more complicated rotation if you want to play it very well. Like, if you want to be using all the spenders and builders, like first of all, no other vocation even has this idea of spenders and builders. And naturally, after you play with the Monk a lot, it becomes second nature. You don't really think about it too much. But yet, it's still a very unique mechanic that you do have to always execute perfectly. The other vocations don't really have to worry about. So you do have a lot more spells. In addition to this, you have this focus harmony and focus serenity spells, which are also... you know, take a little bit of skill and planning and preparation and awareness to pull off well. And yeah, you're basically always kind of dancing with death. You're on the verge of like over pulling and dying, which, you know, is not the case if you're hunting something super weak. Obviously, the Monk is not particularly hard or demanding vocation if you're hunting, you know, a Sura Mirror at level 400. But if you're hunting a Sura Mirror at level 250, or Naga is at level 300, then it does take a fair amount of skill and ability to pull it off without dying every second box, because you don't have very much damage mitigation. You're pretty squishy, all things considered. If you play it well and you avoid majority of the damage by moving well, then great. But that is part of the skill, and it's not that easy, I think, for majority of players. It may seem easy if someone really knows what they're doing and just moving around, but even what I'm doing right this second and with this pull, like, super easy, right? I can tell you that, you know, probably 70% of the player base, they tried to do this, they'd be dead in like 5 seconds. So, yeah, I don't think it's a super easy vocation. I don't know if there was that implication in your question. Hełek! Dzięki. Dzięki bardzo. Thank you for the raid. Welcome, everybody. Okay, you're just wondering. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, but that's it. I think it's just it all comes down also to the level that you're thinking about, right? If you are like I usually tend to answer from the perspective of someone who like really wants to push a vocation to its absolute max and peak. And from that perspective, like I said, I think the monk probably has the highest sort of possible skill ceiling or gap between the top players and the average players. Obviously, if you're just going to be playing the vocation pretty casually, you don't need like some insane level of skill, right? You can just wallbox, and it's fine, right? You're going to give up 5, 10, 15% of experience, but you're going to be fine. You're going to be pretty safe. You've got your ultimate spirit potions, you've got your virtue sustain, and you're fine, right? But if you're going to be, you know, competing to be top 10 monk in the world, skill level wise, not necessarily, you know, in-game level wise, then you're going to have to be pretty damn skilled at the game. I think. There's a lot of things that I can see. Like even manual target selection of every single target every second is a pretty demanding skill that you need to have. Now, if you've been playing a lot of Paladin, you should be pretty good at it, but it's still not something that's super easy. Skill gap for solo mages is also huge. True. Yep. That is very true. Have you seen the Top Monk and Dragons? I haven't watched it. I know that they hunt in there. I haven't really watched it though. I don't have very much time to watch streams myself. I should watch more streams and hang out in more streams and make more friends, streamer friends and stuff. But Sfar is largely enough for me. Sfar and Fiery Soul. Hey Risa a little bit as well. But so many streamers and so little time. Monks are not that strong at higher level. Well, that is just data point 1, right? It's only one dude. So you know, he may be top monk level. And by the way, I have no idea what his skill level as a player is. Like 0. Like I said, I've not watched him. But you know, if you only have one guy streaming this kind of stuff, it's perfectly possible that he might not actually be necessarily that good, right? I have no idea. He may be very good. You know, if he's top level, he probably knows what he's doing, quite a bit at least. But he could just not be that great at that hunting spot or whatever, right? But anyway, generally speaking, you know, dragons is one of those spots that, yeah, I don't think the monk will be excelling at. This is one. If you have any spot where you have like 20 monsters or more on screen at any one time, it's not a spot designed for the monk. So even this place as well, Issavi surface, like I'm doing, you know, reasonable numbers here, but that's just because the monk is so powerful. But the spot does not feel very good for the monk's kit. And War Dragons is also the same. It's not really designed with the monk's kit in mind. So yeah, it's natural that the monk will not excel there. But for example, library hunting, like Fire Lib, Ice Lib, you know, the way that you hunt there. I mean, I haven't hunted much library myself in my life, so I'm no expert by no means, but at least from what I've seen and what I've experienced, it's a lot of like box hunting, right? You you know, your paladin goes around, gets a box, your EK goes and gets a box, and then you meet in the middle and you do like a box killing. For that kind of hunting, the monk is amazing, and I'm sure the monk does excellent numbers in hunting like that. But when you're doing war dragon hunting, where you're freaking running around killing 20 monsters at a time, obviously the monk does not have enough AoE and kit to really be that efficient at that kind of hunting. So yeah, and that's also why people do think that the monk overall is not, you know, it does not scale that well. And that was always the assumption and worry from the test server, that the monk does not scale terribly well because it cannot hit more than, you know, 6 monsters per turn average across its rotation, something like that. Whereas, you know, a paladin with the runes and diamond arrows hits like 15 per turn. Or more, probably. Mages, again, with the runes, again, probably hitting, you know, dense respawns like this, probably hit 15, 20 monsters per turn. And the monk just simply does not have the kit to do that, so it won't scale that well. And spawns like the war dragons definitely do highlight that. Or spawns like this, even. But it's definitely, or spawns like Ingol. For example, if they go hunting Ingol, again, Ingol is another respawn where I don't expect the monk to be particularly, you know, particularly good. I don't know what like Rotten Blood respawns are like. I feel like from what I've seen from Rotten Blood respawns, there is a little bit more of that sort of box type fighting. And same in Soul War, right? It seems like the EK tends to end up in a box. Any respawn where the EK kind of stands in a box surrounded by 8 monsters, I think the monk will do okay in, because that's where they can really put out the DPS. Any respawn where the EK is like running around like a headless chicken, just pulling 30 monsters behind him, that's a respawn where I don't think the monk is going to be doing all that well. God, that was a bit of a monologue, sorry. You've been wanting to request a feature on the forums to add an option to target first creature in battle. Would be awesome. I've seen that requested a few times, and yes, it would be super, super great to have that as an option. I would totally use it. Like a hotkey, right? So instead of, you would remap space. Like currently I have on space, I have target next creature, right? But I would rather remap that to be space to target first creature in the battle list, right? That would be amazing. That would be really, really great. But it's been years that I've seen that requested, to be honest, and nothing seems to come of it. I don't know why. It seems like a no-brainer, obvious fix to a lot of the problems with selecting creatures, but yeah, whatever. What spots are you thinking to hunt at level 500? I'm not sure if that much opens at 500. I think the one place that I'm immediately remembering is that I tried Girtabilus at level 400 and it was a little bit too hard. So definitely going to try Girtabilus again at level 500. I don't know if there's anything else that I'm strictly waiting for level 500. I think there's a few 600 spots. I don't know about 500 though. I'll write a detailed post later today, I think. Hope it gets some traction. Yeah? Send me a link if you post it. I'll give you a +1, you know? Moral support. I do think that would be a very nice feature to have in the game. Like I said, it has been definitely requested before. I don't know if there's any particular reason that Tipsoft is against it. Seems dodgy, but you know, you never know with their code base. Have you tried Mix -8? Do you mean Buried Cathedral -8? That's like the only place I can think of -8. Hey, Grolton. Yeah, we've tried Buried Cathedral. Yeah, on my list, it's recommended for 350 plus. I died. My last death is actually from from Buried Cathedral -8 on like level 338 when I did an overpull of like 9 Arachnos and like 5 Burster Spectres and stuff. So yeah, I'm recommending it for 350. And yeah, we hunted there. It was pretty good. I think I recall like 5.2 raw, something like that, around that amount. I think it's going to be pretty good with the Sanguine Claw at 600. I would probably go to revisit it at 600 with the Sanguine Claw. I think it would be pretty insane. Not like insane, but I think maybe you could do like 7 raw at level 600 with the Sanguine Claw at Buried Cathedral, maybe. So you know, it's pretty good, but it's not going to be like, you know, supremely amazing go-to meta spot or anything like that though. Those spiders are dangerous indeed, and that was even a 4-star spider, you know, the 4 influence spider that actually killed me there. Ended up in a box with me, so yeah, it was not fun. But yeah, that's my last death actually now, 112 levels ago. So it's been a little while. I'm probably due on, so hopefully we can put it off for a while. But yeah, been a little while since my last death, so wouldn't be surprised if we see one within the next week or so. Oh, Violet Gem. Let's get that one. Right, 5 more minutes of EXP prey. EXP boost. So we'll run that down, and then we'll probably start thinking about winding down a bit. My kids should be coming back in 15-20 minutes. Maybe we could do like an Oberon solo as a test or something. Although Oberon, I don't like bosses where you burn more than 2 minutes of stamina, and in Oberon you do need to kill those falcons, which is kind of annoying because you end up burning like 5 minutes of green stamina, so maybe not. Timira is another one where you burn a bunch of stamina if you're going to kill those Nagas, which you probably should if you're doing it solo. Don't know. Droom solo is super easy, so I don't even know if that's worth showcasing in any way. It's garbage. Next time I'm out of stamina, maybe this evening, I'll try and go to Oberon and record it solo. Do you think they should nerf the monk or buff other vocations? I mean, ideally, I'd like to see... well, I like... Oh, hang on a minute. I think my amulet finished, so I was struggling there for a moment. So I like being able to play a solo vocation and stay semi-competitive with Team Hunt. I think Team Hunting is too strong, so I would like them to potentially buff other vocations so that they are competitive with Team Hunt as well. It's kind of what Lee Ragnarsson says a lot if you watch him. The problem is that also improves Team Hunt if you buff all the solo vocations. What I would like to see is like a Serene State implementation of sorts for every vocation where they are stronger solo and get maybe a bit weaker in Team Hunt. I think that's a very cool mechanic that I would like explored a bit further. Because it is nice to be able to play the game and not feel like you're just like gimping yourself by solo hunting, and you can do that with the monk because of how powerful it is. But you know, if we are being realistic, it'll just be the monk gain the nerf instead of all the vocations gain a buff, or having a serious rethink about the party bonus, unfortunately. So whatever. I'm not going to think about it too much because I'll just set myself up for disappointment. I'm just getting some messages from my wife. I'm just going to check. So maybe I can play a little bit longer. Let me see what she's saying after this box. One sec. All right, calm down. Calm down. We're all right. I can play until about 4:35 maybe. So we've got another 20 minutes or so. Chill out. I was watching the screen. I'm not going to die like a noob like that. No problem. All under control. Texting and driving in Issavi. Funny. What other vocation can use Tinder while hunting in Issavi servers? I wish. Would have been a nice clip. Come on. Reported to wife. That is far more serious than reported to Tipsoft, indeed. I'm already sleeping on the sofa for the past week anyway because of my cough. Especially at night, it's really awful. What else is she gonna do? Still running HP gems. Yes, I'm still running HP gems. Expecting to be running HP gems for a long time. I've been looking actually a fair bit at greater gems for the monk and trying to, you know, see if there's like some perfect gem greater gem that you could already use at like relatively low level, you know, because you can start using greater gems. I think level 525 is when you can like slot one in. So, you know, I'm not terribly far off. So I've been doing a little bit of theory crafting. But honestly, I don't find any of the greater gems all that worth. I don't, you know, the way that you have to invest into a particular quadrant to get the greater gems, you give up a lot of power around the wheel to do that. I don't think the bonuses of the greater gems of the monk really justify that. I think you'll still use greater gems, but at a higher level. I think I'm probably going to be using lesser gems with HP until like level 800 or so. And only then, maybe there'll be some god wheel that you can do with some greater gems. But I don't see one at like level 600. You're sleeping on the sofa playing Monk on the notebook. Oh god, I would never play Tibia on a laptop. I don't know how people do it. I need to have like a massive monitor for all my analyzers and stuff. No way. I love my data too much. When nerf 450 monk hunting Issavi? Yeah, what's the problem? Normal. We're out of boost. We're not going to get another level, I think. I need to save a bit of stamina for this evening. We hunt a little bit this evening, I guess. I guess if I play in about 5 hours, I'll have 1 hour and 1.5 hours of stamina. Ooh, that's perfect for finishing Deathling Bestiary. So I'll do that. I'll do that this evening. I need about 1 hour 40 to finish Deathlings. Anyway, I do think that I think the monk nerf is 10th of June. I've been saying this for ages actually. I've been saying this for like weeks at this point. 10th of June is my estimated monk nerf date. I still don't think it's going to be like a massive one. I think it's going to be like another similar one to the ones we've had before, like a 3 to 5% nerf, which is still means it's still going to be perfectly playable. It's just going to be a little bit weaker, which again, it's kind of fine considering how powerful he is at the moment. I think the first real greater gem you want to be using is the revelation perk ones that help you get something stage 3 early. Yeah, or combine 2 wheels. Like the one I was specifically looking at is the revelation for ascetic. I could see going for like a tier 2 spiritual outburst quadrant, and in that quadrant, and then having like ascetic points, and then picking up ascetic as well to help with like the harmony wheel. That I can see, but it's a stretch. I think it's a stretch if that's worth compared to like some HP gems and like +2 chain, for example. Because at the level you can use greater gems, you can have +2 chain, right? So don't know. Hello. So yeah, but yeah, I do think the revelation is probably best. Like if there was a greater gem that did chain penance base damage, we're gonna do one more lap, by the way. We're gonna do one more lap and I'm gonna finish. If there was a greater gem which had like base damage for chain penance, like 10% chain penance damage, I'd be jizzing myself. I'd be fishing for that day one. I'd be all over that gem. But the only bonuses, maybe like the only thing that I was thinking about that maybe there is a scenario, I think, in which chained penance gets absolutely obliterated and nerfed by Tipsoft, and if that happens, then Flurry of Blows becomes the default builder, and maybe suddenly Flurry of Blows becomes pretty good. And there is a base damage Flurry of Blows gem, which is actually pretty strong as well. It's not one of those 7.5%. I think it's the one that's by default 7.5 and then scales to like 9% or something when upgraded. If that is the case and that is the default builder that we use 3 times in a rotation, then potentially that gem would be good. We'd get some mad value of that one. But there's a lot of ifs in the past 30 seconds that I just said, so not sure that is how it's gonna go, but that is something I'm thinking about. Is it worth to offline train magic level on Paladin? No, it's not worth to offline train magic level on anybody. It's not even really worth on mages at a certain point. It doesn't do anything. It's more On a mage at a certain magic level, it's more efficient to just log out in depot rather than waste 10 seconds walking to the shrine. Tip posted about test server on 11:06. They posted about the backup for the test server, not the test server being on the 11th of the 6th. Do you think you'll get 6.5 raw after finishing bestiary? What, in here? In here or in Deathlings? I was just talking about Deathlings as well, so maybe you meant that place. I don't think I'll get 6.5 in here after doing bestiary, after doing all the full charms. Maybe at a slightly higher level. I think at 500 with the sanguine legs and full bestiary here, maybe I could do 6.5. Maybe. But it'd be a stretch, I think. It's pretty hard. And like I said, the monk doesn't scale here very well because of the low AoE that he has. You like medium gems of HP and physical, but super RNG? Yeah, of course. But like, yeah, but that's the thing. And it's also expensive. It's quite expensive to get them, right? So it's kind of like, you know what? The medium gems are kind of like intricate imbuements, right? Yeah, they're better than basic, and it's nice to have them if you can't have powerful imbues. But why invest so much in medium gems when eventually they will just be replaced by greater gems, right? Flurry of Blows gems upgraded 9.75%. Yeah, exactly. So if you're using Flurry of Blows, like I say, if Chain Penance is nerfed and Flurry of Blows is the best builder, and you're still using that 3 times per rotation, 3 out of 5 spells is Flurry of Blows, you upgrade, you know, the damage, you know, that's like 30% of 5 free abilities in a 5 spell rotation. You know, very roughly, that's probably like a 5% DPS increase, right? That's pretty fucking big from a single greater gem, right? So yeah, I think if Chain Penance gets really giga nerfed, then the greater gem Flurry of Blows is giga stonks all of a sudden. I think that's possible. All right, one last pull, and then we're gonna drop. Gems are so money scam. Yeah, kind of. The HP gems are really nice at low level. Like that is something I really underappreciated until I tried it. It's so nice and so powerful. It's worth to skill magic level with the monk. I mean, you will want to at some point, but it's not as important to start with as fist. But eventually, once you get to a certain level of fist fighting, you will want to train your magic level as well. It helps very much with your sustain and healing. So yeah. All right, we done. We have 15% to levels. Yeah, I'll probably hit 452 this evening when I play a bit longer. I'll probably pop another boost at Deathlings for an hour and a half. So yeah, hit 452 today. I won't be streaming then though in the evening. I only do one stream a day. Tomorrow we'll probably do another stream in the day. On Wednesday we'll probably do an evening stream. On Thursday we might skip in preparation for Rapid, and then on Rapid I've got the Friday off work. So assuming my kids don't get sick, we should have like a whole day Friday stream, you know, 10 a.m. after server save until like 4:30, so like a 6.5 hour stream. So hopefully see everyone then. That's going to be a fun stream for me, at least. Obviously bestiary based, but also a bit of experience. I'm sure we're going to be doing, I think maybe we'll start off with Ghastly Dragons on Friday. You know, in the Wrath of the Emperor 10. Hello, Rich. Are you ready for the test server? Yeah. I mean, it's not really anything being announced yet. We really don't know anything. So we'll see. Like I say, I've said this before. My guess, if I'm gonna guess, it's something like an expansion of the task system, killing in the name of system. Maybe a modernized version of Grizzly Adams for 2025, and a second reuse for the hunting task points. That's like my guess. You know, or what we might see. It's totally made up. But yeah, that's my little guess of what we might have. Anyway, I will be finishing the stream now. So sorry you came in right at the end, Rich. Yeah, let's see who we can raid. Looks like Fiery is streaming. Avalanche looks like he's just standing in depot, so standing in his house. So we're not going to raid him. It's not too exciting. And my wife, she's going for 10 days. Full tibia this weekend. 15 hours per day. 10 charming plus 5 hours profit. Damn. Never seen a man be so excited about his wife going away. No judgment here. You can just go to Avalanche if you want to, Chachman. I'm not forcing you to go anywhere in particular. But he's just standing in his house, you know. I'm not gonna. I try to raid someone who's actually doing something. You know, if I go to a stream and I see somebody standing in depot, standing in the house, I'm not very likely to raid them. Right? I try to raid somebody who's actually doing something. So we're gonna go to Fiery Soul. Always a friendly stream. Always enjoy it there. So yeah. Anyway. I'll end now. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Let's raid Fiery. Say hello to him, and yeah, we'll have a stream tomorrow. I'll see you guys. Yeah, I'll see you guys then. So thanks for watching. As always, see you next time. Bye bye.